Have you ever wondered why some cars don't just grab your attention? They grip your soul. It's not just horsepower. It's not just leather seats or chrome badges. It's something deeper, something psychological. Because for many of us, cars are more than machines. They're an extension of who we are, or who we want to become. Especially when we talk about Mercedes, there's something different about this brand. Something that goes beyond engineering and elegance. Mercedes doesn't just build cars, it builds emotion. Every curve, every roar of the engine, every whisper of luxury. It's designed to speak directly to the human desire for power, beauty, and control. And if you've ever been behind the wheel of one, you already know. It's not about driving from point A to B, it's about how you feel between them. Psychologists call this self-symbolism, the idea that objects we choose, like the car we drive, reflect how we see ourselves, or how we want others to see us. Carl Jung believed that humans express their inner identity through external symbols, and for many, a Mercedes is one of those symbols. It's not about showing off, it's about showing up as the person you believe you are, or the person you're becoming. Because let's face it, people don't fall in love with torque numbers. They fall in love with the way a car makes them feel, confident, respected, alive. Now think about this. What does it really mean when we say a car is powerful? Most people think of engine specs. But power also means control. Over your time, over your environment, even over your emotions. In a world that's chaotic and fast, the cockpit of a Mercedes feels like your private command center. It gives you back control, and with that, a feeling of calm confidence. And then there's luxury. Why does luxury matter so much to people? It's not just comfort, it's affirmation. When you sit inside a handcrafted cabin, with ambient lighting, near-silent acoustics, and leather so soft it feels unreal, your brain recognizes something. It tells you, you've made it. You deserve this. Psychologically, luxury satisfies higher-level emotional needs, recognition, self-worth, status. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once we've secured basic survival, we start seeking meaning, identity, significance. That's exactly what Mercedes delivers. Not just luxury, but meaning. And in 2026, they're taking it to a whole new level. This upcoming lineup isn't just impressive, it's a statement. These are machines built not just with steel and software, but with soul. From all-electric Maybachs to AMG monsters that can challenge supercars, Mercedes is proving one thing: the future of driving still has emotion in it. So, if you've ever loved a car not just for how fast it goes, but for how it makes you feel, if you believe that luxury isn't about money, it's about mindset. If you know that power is not always loud, but always present, then this video is for you. Because you're about to see the 6 most powerful and luxurious Mercedes cars of 2026, each one more than just a spec sheet, each one built to awaken something inside you. And if you stay till the end, I'll share a final thought that will change the way you look at cars, and maybe even yourself, forever. A perspective that reveals why the car you choose says more about your psychology than any words ever could. So sit back, let your imagination take the driver's seat, and let's begin. Let's start with a machine that doesn't just push limits, it redefines them. 1. Mercedes-AMG S63 E-Performance 2026. This is not just a performance car. It's a hybrid beast with a mission. With a 4.0-liter V8 biturbo engine paired with a high-performance electric motor, it delivers a combined 802 horsepower and 1,430 Nm of torque. That's not just powerful, that's dominant. But the numbers only tell part of the story. This car was built for those who crave intensity, but demand refinement. Inside, you'll find luxury stitched into every inch. Massaging seats, Burmester 3D surround sound. A cabin that feels like a personal sanctuary, even at 0 to 100 kilometers, in 3 seconds. Psychologically, this car appeals to the dual nature in many of us. The part that wants to be in control, and the part that wants to feel untamed. It satisfies the desire to lead, but also the thrill of breaking free. You don't drive the S63, you command it. 2. Mercedes-Maybach EQS 680 SUV 2026. This is luxury in its purest, quietest form. Fully electric, whisper quiet, and endlessly opulent. It offers 649 horsepower, an all-wheel drive system, and nearly 600 kilometers of range. But again, the soul of this car lies beyond specs. The rear cabin is designed not for transportation, but transformation. Reclining seats, neck-heating pillows, active ambient lighting that shifts with your mood. The psychology here is clear. This car isn't about power over the road. It's about peace within. It's built for those who've climbed their mountain and now want to enjoy the view. It satisfies a deep human need for calm, comfort, and status without noise. That's why Maybachs are loved by thinkers, leaders, and those who know that real power whispers. 3. Mercedes-AMG GT63 SE Performance Coupe 2026.
This is adrenaline sculpted in metal.
A plug-in hybrid monster with 843 horsepower, track-ready suspension, and handcrafted AMG DNA. Every inch of this car screams movement, precision, edge. Driving this is not about getting somewhere, it's about entering a state of flow, a psychological concept where action and awareness merge. The GT63 doesn't just respond to the road, it responds to you, your timing, your rhythm, your confidence. And yet, step inside and you're met with handcrafted leather, MBUX hyperscreen tech, and a cockpit that feels alive. This is for the driver who refuses to choose between art and aggression, who understands that beauty and danger can exist in the same body. 4. Mercedes-Benz G-Class EV 2026.
You've seen the G-Wagon before,
but never like this. The iconic shape stays. The power becomes electric. Expected to have over 580 horsepower, dual motors, and an adaptive battery system. The G-Class EV will be a symbol of evolution without compromise. The G-Wagon has always been more than a car. It's a fortress, a status symbol, a statement. Psychologically, it speaks to those who want to feel indestructible, people who value strength, presence, and identity. Going electric doesn't make it softer, it makes it smarter. And for the modern driver who wants to stand tall, speak loud, and live consciously, this is it. 5. Mercedes-Benz Clay Coupe 2026. This is where elegance meets logic. The CLE is set to replace both the C-Class and E-Class coupes, blending the best of both worlds into a sleek, driver-focused package. Expected engine options include a turbocharged inline-six and plug-in hybrid variants. But what matters more is how this car feels to drive. Balanced, sculpted, light on its feet but rich in presence. This is for the purist, the one who doesn't chase attention but earns respect. The CLE satisfies the need for belonging, not by standing above, but by fitting in perfectly. A choice for those who value taste, not trends. 6. Mercedes-AMG Vision Concept, projected 2026. This one's still a vision, but visions shape the future. Expected to carry an all-electric drivetrain with AMG-level dynamics and body design that looks straight out of science fiction. Sharp lines, illuminated logos, a cabin that feels like a spaceship, focused entirely on the driver. This is the psychology of imagination, of pushing past what's possible and creating something new. Concept cars are built for dreamers, people who see technology not as a tool but as an art form. If this model makes it to production in any form, it will speak to a generation that doesn't just want to drive, it wants to explore, to redefine freedom, to be part of what's next. Each of these cars carries something deeper than engineering. They reflect parts of us, the seeker of control, the lover of peace, the rebel, the icon, the minimalist, the dreamer. And that's what makes this lineup so unforgettable. Because Mercedes doesn't just manufacture vehicles, it manufactures experiences. And behind the wheel of any one of these, you're not just moving through the world, you're making a statement to it. Let me know when you're ready for Section 3, the psychological layer that explains why these cars stir something so deep inside us. What is it that makes these cars feel different? Why do some people feel emotionally connected to a machine made of steel, wires, and glass? The answer lies in the brain, and the identity it tries to protect. Driving for many people is one of the last places where they feel truly in control. According to a study published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology, the car has become a psychological extension of the self. It doesn't just get us somewhere. It expresses who we are, or who we wish we were. A Mercedes in particular speaks to identity at a high level. It symbolizes more than wealth. It reflects achievement, refinement, and inner confidence. This is rooted in a basic human truth. We are driven by the need to matter. Psychologists call this self-determination theory, the idea that we seek autonomy, competence, and relatedness. A high-performance, high-luxury vehicle like a Mercedes satisfies all three. Autonomy, because you feel free, not just from physical limitations, but from emotional ones. Competence, because when you command 800 horsepower with a flick of your ankle, you feel capable and precise. Relatedness, because others see it. And whether we admit it or not, we want to be seen. We don't love luxury because it's expensive. We love it because it affirms our value. Inside a Mercedes, you're not just a driver, you're an individual of significance. Every detail, from the stitching on the seats to the sound profile of the exhaust, tells your brain, you've arrived. And that moment when you sit behind the wheel and feel the engine awaken, that's more than excitement, that's dopamine. Neuroscience confirms it. The sound of an engine you love can trigger the same pleasure center in your brain as music, food, even human connection. It's not just noise, it's chemistry. That first rev, that seamless shift, that rush of acceleration, they create a powerful emotional loop. Anticipation, reward, repeat.
That's why driving a Mercedes doesn't feel like using a tool.
It feels like engaging with a part of yourself that wants to be alive. But there's something deeper still, something more personal. Every car tells a story, and most people choose cars that match the story they're trying to tell. For some, it's about power. For others, elegance. For some, it's rebellion. For others, peace. And Mercedes understands this better than most. That's why their lineup feels so emotionally wide.
The AMG GT says, "I live on the edge." The Maybach EQS says, "I lead with calm."
The G-Class EV says, "I adapt, but I never fold." Each model is not just engineered for performance, it's designed for identity alignment. That's powerful psychology. Because when something aligns with who you are or who you aspire to be, it becomes magnetic. You're drawn to it, even if you can't always explain why. That's why car lovers don't need justification. They feel it in their chest. And the love runs deep, especially among Mercedes owners. Studies in brand psychology show that luxury car owners often experience something called brand personality identification. They don't just own the car, they become part of its story. That's why Mercedes advertising rarely focuses only on speed or features. It focuses on feeling, on perception, on presence, because that's what resonates with the human mind. And presence matters, not just to others, but to yourself. In psychology, there's a phenomenon called the reflected self, how you believe others see you. And for many drivers, pulling up in a Mercedes changes that image. It shapes how the world treats them, and over time, how they treat themselves. That's not vanity, that's human nature. We are storytelling beings. And every time you step into a car, especially one like a Mercedes, you step into a story. One that tells you, you're in control, you have power, you've earned this, you belong here. This emotional connection is no accident. It's crafted, not just by engineers, but by designers who study human behavior, desire, and aspiration. The stitching isn't just for comfort, it's for confidence. The lighting isn't just for vision, it's for mood regulation. The engine note isn't just tuned for sound, it's tuned for emotional satisfaction. It's a holistic experience, one that taps into multiple layers of psychology all at once. Status, control, reward, identity, and even nostalgia. That's why driving a Mercedes isn't about showing off. It's about feeling something real in a world that too often feels disconnected. And that's what draws car lovers back again and again, not just to the brand, but to the experience, to the drive, to the moment. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing: to feel alive, to feel worthy, to feel seen. And that's what these cars do every time you turn the key. There's a moment every car lover knows. It's not when the engine starts. It's not even when the tires hit the road. It's that quiet pause just before you drive, when your hand rests on the wheel and your mind forgets everything else. That moment is not about speed, it's not about power, it's about presence. It's the feeling of being completely in tune with something that wasn't built for survival, but for sensation. In a world that moves too fast, where attention is fractured and time always feels short, that moment behind the wheel gives you something rare: clarity, a chance to feel grounded, a space where you are the only one in control. That's what Mercedes offers. Not just cars, not just luxury, but mental space, emotional oxygen, permission to feel powerful without saying a word. This matters more than most people realize, because we live in a world that constantly demands from our attention, from our energy, from our identity. We are expected to perform, achieve, adapt. But in that space behind the wheel, especially in something designed with care, precision, and emotional intelligence, we're allowed to just be. No roles, no noise, just the hum of something that was built not to impress you, but to understand you. It's why people form real relationships with cars, and why Mercedes continues to hold that deep psychological space in the hearts of so many. When a brand consistently designs vehicles that make you feel respected, capable, and seen, it stops being a brand. It becomes a mirror. And every time you get in, it reflects something back. This is who you are when no one's watching. This is what you've worked for. This is what you deserve. That kind of reflection isn't shallow, it's powerful. It connects to a deeper human drive, the need to find meaning in the things we choose. Because people don't remember cars just for what they did. They remember how those cars made them feel. The long night drives when the city was asleep. The soft glow of dashboard lights on a cold morning. The quiet confidence pulling up to a moment that mattered. A car can be a memory you never forget, a decision you never regret, And that's the real legacy of Mercedes. It's not just horsepower or heritage, it's emotional consistency. Decade after decade, Mercedes has built vehicles that feel like you belong inside them. Cars that meet you where you are, whether you're chasing a dream, protecting your peace, or just wanting to feel something real in a world that often feels artificial. For those who love cars, this isn't a product, it's a passion. Because when you love cars, you don't just love the drive, you love the becoming. Every turn of the wheel is a reminder that you're in motion, not just physically, but personally, progressing, growing, becoming more of who you are. And when that machine beneath you reflects that growth, when it mirrors your ambition, your taste, your energy, the connection becomes permanent. That's why car lovers don't forget the cars that made them feel something. That's why Mercedes models live in memory long after they're replaced, because they didn't just carry people, they carried chapters of life. And this new generation of 2026 models? They're not just vehicles of the future, they are reflections of who we're becoming next. Quieter, but more powerful. Smarter, but still emotional. Electric, but still full of energy. Technological, but still unmistakably human. In a world where so much is becoming robotic, soulless, and disposable, these vehicles remind us that craft still matters. That design with emotion still holds weight. That movement, when done right, still awakens the heart. So the next time you see a Mercedes glide past you, know this: it's not just passing by, it's telling a story about vision, about precision, but most of all, about you. Because some people dream of success, some people chase it, and some people drive it. What is it about motion that makes us feel alive? Not just the movement of a vehicle, but the movement of life itself, forward, unknown, full of possibilities. That's why driving has always been more than transportation. It's transformation. A private ritual where we turn the key and, without even realizing it, turn a page in our personal story. Mercedes understands this truth better than most. Not because they build fast cars, but because they build meaningful movement. It's not about speed, it's about sensation. It's not about status, it's about state of mind. Behind the wheel, we're not just navigating roads, we're navigating emotion, thought, memory, hope. That's why certain drives stay with us forever. The night you left for something new, the day you returned home, the time you sat in silence, engine running just to think. These are the kinds of moments that imprint onto our consciousness. And the car we were in, how it sounded, how it felt, how it held us, becomes part of the memory. This isn't just nostalgia, it's sensory memory. The way our brains attach feeling to experience through physical triggers like sound, smell, vibration, and rhythm. Mercedes designs around this idea. It's why their seats don't just support you, they soothe you. Why their engines don't just move you, they move something in you. And that's the difference between a machine and a masterpiece. Psychology tells us that meaning comes from emotional depth. We connect with what mirrors us. Cars, when done right, become mirrors of our inner world. They reflect our ambition, our confidence, our progress. That's why for some people, a car isn't a purchase, it's a declaration. It says, I know where I'm going. I'm ready for the next chapter. I want to feel more, not just own more. This is the intersection where performance meets presence, where design meets desire. Mercedes doesn't just fill a need, it fulfills a psychological longing, the need to matter, the need to feel, the need to be in control of something real in a world that often feels fake. And that's rare today. So many things around us are designed to distract, to consume. But a well-crafted car does the opposite. It brings you into the moment. It demands your attention, but in a way that rewards it. Every stitch, every sound, every inch of a Mercedes is carefully shaped to remind you, this matters, you matter, because when you're behind the wheel, you're not reacting, you're creating. Your path, your rhythm, your energy. That sense of creation taps into something deep in the human psyche, what psychologists call agency. The ability to act on your own terms, the freedom to shape your life, one choice at a time. And that's what makes driving a Mercedes feel so different. It's not loud unless you want it to be. It's not flashy unless you ask it to be. It doesn't scream for attention. It commands respect. There's a psychological elegance in that, a quiet authority that resonates with people who value substance over noise. Those who don't chase validation because they already know their worth. And that's what these cars are built for, people who know who they are and drive accordingly. Because the road doesn't just test the machine, it tests the mindset of the one driving it.